Class, is my screen visible? Someone please speak. Is my
Yes, sir.
screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visual.
Okay. So let's start. So you must have, if you must have seen the lecture of the last class, then we have started with design discussion of a banking application. So the purpose of discussing an application is, although it's a console-based application, but the purpose is that you should be in a position to understand what are the key things you should keep in mind while you are developing an application from the backend perspective. Okay, so we have started with it, and then we have discussed a few classes in the last session. But yeah, तो class show कर दिया, class बार बार कर दिया। तो ठीक है, अरे किसका भाई? Okay, guys. So in the last class we have discussed about these classes of the package HFC Bank with the name. So I told you in the last class also that it's not for a specific bank, but rather it could be customized for almost any bank. So we have the key classes, which are account class, and the subclass of account class is saving accounts. Then we have got this bank class, the customer class. So these are the key entities which are basically grouping together to make this application work. So a little theoretical part, just to revise the things in 5 minutes, and then we will start further from where we left the last class. Till then, more people will also join. So just have taken a snip of the screen, and I want to write something on it so to make it more elaborative. So you know that this account class is an abstract class. We have defined it as abstract class because there were two methods which were basically undefined in the account class, and those methods were the deposit method and the withdraw method. They do not have the body. They do not have the body. So we know because of these two abstract methods, we have defined the whole class as abstract, and so the object of the account class could not be made. And in fact, that's the purpose. We have kept it as abstract because we do not want to make the object of the account class, or we should not want the developer to be in a position to make the object of the account class directly. So then saving account is something which is extending the account class. So saving account is the child class of the account class. So saving account extends the account class. So we say that account class is generalization. Account class is generalization. So the most common code which will belong to all kinds of account, whether it be a provident account, it could be a saving account, it could be a current account, it could be a trading account, whatever. So the most general part of the code which belongs to everything is kept in the account class, so that it is common for all, and that is why it is called as generalization. And then saving account is something which is a specialization, because we are talking about a special kind of account which is a saving account. As well as we also call this as extension of the account class. Extension, because it will add more properties and more methods which are from more methods and more properties apart from the ones which we are inheriting from the account class. So that is why it is also called as extension. Okay. The bank.java, as we have seen yesterday in the last class, that it's the one which is going to contains the list of all the customers which belong to a particular bank. So we also give the name of the bank also in the constructor of bank.java class. We also discuss about the banking application.java. This class, this is basically an interface which contains a few variables that hold the values of interest rates, properties like interest rates, and we can further add, keep on adding other such functional, functional background application constants. We are also aware of about the insufficient fund exception. We have seen in the exception handling class that this is the exception that we have created. We have created on our own, and this was a checked exception. That means we want deliberately the caller of the method which will throw this insufficient exception to actually check to be put under the try and catch block, so that the alternative path or alternative code part of the code which must be executed in case of this exception handle this exception occurs must be provided in the handler, which is the catch block. Okay. Any doubts in that? Any doubts in this part of the discussions of the previous classes, what we have done so far?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. So I'm opening the Eclipse directly. Just a glimpse. This is your account class, which is a state class. It contains a number of variables which are common to all types of accounts, whatever kind of account be they saving account, be they a current account or a provident fund account or whatever. Then we have got the getter and setter methods. We have got the constructor of the state class account, which because we cannot create the object of the account class because it's an abstract class, so the constructor will be used from the child class, which is the saving account class. So this is the constructor which initializes the member variables like account number, account type, beneficiary, account balance, and status is equal to true. That means the account is active. Then we have got two methods. Here we have got withdraw and deposit methods, which are declared abstract. So the body of these methods are not provided in the account class. They are promised to be provided, and that promise is fulfilled in one of the subclasses, which is the saving account class. So you can write your own classes similar to the saving account class for the provident fund account, for current account, and so on. So I've just given one such concrete account class. You can make as many as you like. So saving account extends the account class. This is the extension. That means a new addition from whatever we inherit from the account class. So this particular field, annual interest rate, is an extension because not every account may have annual interest rate. Okay. So a trading account may not have an annual interest rate, right? So that is the reason it cannot go into the common code which is provided in the account class. So this particular variable is an extension, right? An addition rather to whatever we inherit from the account class. Similarly, for annual interest rate, we have got getter methods and the setter methods. We have got two constructors for the saving account. We have discussed that this super is a call to the parent class constructor. That is the account class constructor. Okay. Similarly, this line number 20, this is the call to the same constructor. So part of the work has been done in the constructor, which is a 4R constructor, and this is a 5R constructor. So before proceeding to deal with the last variable, which is additional variable, joint account holder name, before proceeding to set this value, we are delegating the call to the constructor defined in line number 18 here to here, so that these two lines, line number 13 and 14, are executed. Then we have got the implementation of the deposit and the withdraw methods. Okay. We have seen that this withdraw method throws the insufficient fund exception by using the keyword throw and creating a new object. And it also declares that it may throw the exception in certain conditions by using the throws keyword. So we know the difference between the throw and the throws keyword. We have been discussing this for the last 3 classes. Then let's move to the bank class. This is also we have discussed in the last session. The bank class, because this is a generic application that we are building, this may be reused for a number of banks. So we have created a bank class which has got a bank name, and there could be an IFSC code for the bank, and then the list of the customer. Now, because this list of customer is referred by the variable which is of the type list, and list is the interface, and this list is of customer. We are fixing it using the generics. I cannot put any other object apart from the customer object, customer class object in this list. And because this list interface is the super type of both linked list as well as array list, so any instance of time while the program runs, the customer list reference variable could refer to a linked list, or it could refer to a array list. I have told you the difference between the two in the last class also, and when to choose what. This is the constructor for the bank class. It's basically initializing an empty array list. Then we have got the getter and setter methods for bank name, IFSC code, and the customer list as well. Okay. Then we have got a few other methods like add customer and remove customer. If we want to add a customer to the bank, we can basically call this. That means this dot customer list. That means this variable, the list which is being maintained by the bank, and then call the add method of the list interface to add the customer, or remove method of the interface list to remove the customer. So you know how to add into a list. We have got the add method and the remove methods, right? We have seen in the past classes. Then this method, display customer list, basically iterates over all the customer list. That means the list of the customer, and puts the object of each customer one by one in the customer with a small c, this variable. And then we are printing the customer ID as well as the customer name. Okay, this customer ID, I think this method name is I think it's a mistake, right? So spelling mistake, right? So it's instead customer, it's custom ID. So how to correct it? Tell me, so that it should be corrected from everywhere. There is a spelling mistake in the method name. It should have been customer ID. I forgot the R after MER, right? I forgot the R. So I want to correct it so that it is corrected at every places from where it is referred. This particular method is referred. So how to do that? Tell me. Anyone? I have shown you several times, guys. You are not studying. Just right click on the name, refactor, and rename. And here if you give a new name, you change the name and press enter key, it will be changed throughout the project. So now this customer ID means even in the bank class where I had referred the customer ID, see, get customer ID, it is changed. Okay? Got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have seen this bank application constants. Basically, I have created this to provide all the constants which may be reutilized at several classes, at several places within the banking application. So there is one point of change. Say if the saving account interest rate changed, I will just make the change over here, and throughout the application from where this interface constant would have been used, everywhere that information will be updated. So instead of having a duplicate hard-coded value, I am saving it into a field value. And this field value, as we know, it's the variable. It's a field of interface, so it's by default public as well as static, as well as final. Public, static, and final. If I put it here, public, static, or final, it basically would not change anything. It means the same thing. So variables in the interface are always, they are public, they are accessible globally, they are static, they could be used with the name of banking application constant, the name of the interface itself, because we cannot create the object of interface. And then final, that means their value once initialized could not be changed to any other value. If they need to be changed, they need to be changed from here itself, in the code itself. They cannot be reassigned a new value. Okay. So we have seen that this is used from the saving account class, open call hierarchy, and you will know that from where it is being used. So this is the place where it has been referred. So you can see in saving account class, I have referred this. If I just hover over here, so I can see the value 3. It says static, S with red, F with final, and that circle, green circle, means public, right? So it's a floating point value. So I've used it as the name of the interface directly. And then it's more verbose, right? I can just see it and I know that we're talking about the saving account interest rate. Otherwise, if this would have been replaced by just a value 3, then that would have been more confusing. Okay. So once done that, let's move to the customer class. See, the customer has a name, it has a date of birth, it has gender, which is Boolean in nature. So customer ID. Again, here also see the variable name is also, that's a mistake, right? Customer ID. I will get customer ID and set customer ID. I don't think that they will be changed if I refactor them. Let me see. No, they are being changed because they are automatically generated. See, here also all the variable names, even the method getter, etc. method names, they are also changed, but something is happening here. Set customer ID. This is not changed. There could be some behavior which could be not appropriate by the IDs. This happens. It should have changed. Anyways, so we have got the getter setters for all the variables. We have created a reference variable of the account class. So the customer may have more than one account. We can duplicate this statement as many as number of time, or we can just maintain a list of account also for a customer if you like. Because just like here, this line is commented. We could have made a complete list of accounts. So for example, if a customer is there with a particular bank, so he maybe have saving account, he may be having a demat account also that is linked to the saving account. Many banks provide such facility. So you may need a number of different bank accounts of different types for one customer, but they will uniquely be identified by a single customer ID, right? So customer ID is something which is uniquely identified, not only the customer, but we can also get all the associated different accounts from it if we maintain it in the list. So if we remove this line number 12 with the line number 11, then we could possibly maintain the thing in the list, and that will be more appropriate. appropriate in the sense of application behavior, the requirement of the application. Then the calculate age method I have just written to do and left over here with a 0 value. You may implement it because we have provided the customer date of birth. So I want you to basically parse it and convert it into a date and date basically data type, and then figure out the age from the current time and date. So that is something which you can do as an assignment. The toString method basically prints all the details of the customer. We know that toString method is something which is coming from the object class, and we have overridden in the customer class. We can override the toString method in any class to provide the string representation of that particular class object. Any question in this code? Is it okay?
No, sir.
Okay. Then let's move to account util.java. See, this account util.java, or rather, let's move to the account manager.java. See, this is the only class which contains the main method. This is the class which contains the main method. So you know that in a particular application, we may have a number of classes, maybe hundreds of classes, and the one which is going to start the screen, or this is a console application, so which will start taking the control of the execution of the program. So that is basically having the main method. So the single class, this account manager class is having the main method. They are just barely used. So let's see what we are doing in the main method of the account manager class. So let's see, we have replaced the real account manager with code. Okay, so this reflects a person, say for example, which is a position authority in the bank who creates the account for its customers. So it also needs to interact with the customers, and then he needs to create the account for the customer. So creating customer ID, customer object, and creating account object are two different things, right? Even I told you that a customer may have a number of accounts. So as of now, just for the demonstration purpose, I have created 3 accounts and 3 customers. So one account I have associated with each customer. So my account 1, my account 2, and my account 3 are the 3 accounts, right? And all the 3 are saving account because I have not created any other type of account, extension to the account class. I have only created the saving account. You can create whatever you like, and then you can experiment with that. So account, reference variable account, we should prefer to use the super type as a reference variable because it will work on all different types of account. Okay. Account, my account 1 is equal to new saving account, and then we are passing the account number, account type, dot saving account. So this is the saving account type. So account type is again another interface which is holding different types of account. So fixed account, it's holding a string value fixed account. Provident fund account, it's holding a string value provident fund account, and saving account, similarly a saving account. So these are the different kinds of account you can have, and you note the convention. The convention is you have everything is kept and separated by the word separated by underscore, right? So you write every word in caps, and then every word must be separated by underscore. So that's the way you declare a final variable or a constant. Okay, that's a convention. Rather, it's not a rule. I can break the rule. That will not affect my code, or rather the functioning of my code, but that will be something which will violate the convention, and that's not a good thing. I can just see this interface and I can know that all these things are, these are constants which are going to be used. Or even in a normal class also, if I follow this convention, I know that I intend to make that field as a constant and not as a variable. ठीक है. So coming back to the account manager class, I have created 3 accounts. One by the name Shah Imran Alam. Initial deposit amount is 5,000. Account number is 12345 and it's a saving bank account. The second account is with the account number 12346. Again, a saving bank account for person with the name ABC, the beneficiary, and the account balance is 7,000 initial account balance. Similarly, the third account balance, which has got some account number, account type, and XYZ as the name, and 12,000 the initial balance. Okay. So we have created 3 accounts, 3 account objects. Now we are creating customers. So I have created first customer Imran, and I want to have this customer bank as HDFC Bank. So the ID I've given as HDFC 101, and the name of the customer is Shah Imran Alam. And similarly, the second customer I have created Vaibhav. His customer ID is HDFC 102, and I have not defined his name. I should have given his name also. Say set customer name as one of my friend. Okay. Similarly, John, and I have set his customer ID. Okay. I should have given no name for him, some name for him. John dot set customer customer name. Rest of the fields you will have to initialize, like address, date of birth. I have not initialized all those things, so this is just for the demonstration purpose. You can initialize all those things, gender, everything. John Abraham, for example. Okay, I will the name for this customer also. So there are 3 customers and there are 3 accounts. Now I want to associate account 1 with the customer Imran. That means this account is for Imran customer. Account 2 is for Vaibhav, and account 3 is for John, for example. So I will say Imran, which is the customer, dot set customer account, and I am passing the reference variable of my account 1, which is referring to a saving account with initial balance of 5,000 in line number 24 here. Okay. Similarly, for Vaibhav, I am setting account number 2. For John, I am setting account number 3. Guys, ये code clear हुआ?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am creating a new bank. Bank name is HDFC. My bank.set bank name is HDFC. My bank.set IFSC code is HDFC 00015 something. Add customer. We will have to add customer individually. So first customer is Imran. Second customer is Vaibhav. Third customer is John. Right? If you remember, this bank class has got this add customer method, right? Add customer, where the customer information comes and this is added to the customer list. Correct? I can also remove a customer name, customer also by calling remove customer method, right? Also, there is another way that we can, instead of adding customer one by one, I can have a complete list prepared, and then I can call set customer list and pass the whole list of the customer. This could be another way of setting the customer list for a particular bank in one go. Guys, getting the idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So coming back to account manager class. Now, once we are done by setting the customers or adding the customers to the bank, then this account util, you see that it's the name of the class. It's a class C, as you can see. Okay. And then it has got a method publish main menu and execute, right? So that will be a console based menu. And because we are calling this method on the name of the class directly, that means this method is a static method. And I am passing two things, the bank object and one of the customer object, so that I am assuming that that will be the default customer with which I will start working with. Okay. So let's go and check out what this method contains. Account util. See, this method publish main, menu, and execute method, which is a static method in the account util class. So before coming to this method, let's see what this particular class is doing. So we have got a method get customer ID. Okay, that takes the bank name, and within the bank name, it looks for the list of customers. And get customer ID means we are interested in one customer ID. So whatever the customer ID I will supply, I will be returning back that customer ID. So instead, let's move from here itself. Publish main, menu, and execute. See what we are doing. We are getting the scanner object ready to read from the keyboard. While true, that means this loop will keep on executing uninterrupted forever, unless the condition true becomes false. Okay, and we will see how that becomes false. So that's an indefinite loop. And in this indefinite loop, we are printing the menu options, inter operations. That means deposit amount. If I press 1, I am choosing to deposit the amount. If I'm pressing 2, I'm choosing to withdraw the amount. If I'm pressing 3, then I am choosing to fetch the customer ID and change the customer ID. That means I want to fetch the customer ID as well as change the customer ID. For example, the customer ID must be changed for some reason. If I'm choosing 4 option, then fetch customer ID and view the customer details. I just want to view the customer details, but I do not want to change the customer ID. Similarly, you can keep on adding a number of menus like fetch the customer ID and delete account. Say for example, okay, or change the customer. So these are change the loaded customer. So these could be the further a lot of menus which could be added over here. And 5 means exit. I want to exit from this application. That means I want to break this loop, and for that I have to press 5 button. That will let me exit the application. So because all these options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are numeric in nature, so I am calling next int method on the scan object to get the option from the user. So the option that the user enters will be stored in the option variable, which is of the type integer. Initial amount is declared as 0.0 float. Switch option, we know about the switch, switch and case, this construct. Basically, switch is used to switch upon multiple different options. So you must have studied in C++ also, as well as in C. So you have got an option, and the first option for this switch is case 1, when I have entered 1. So in that case, what happens? It will print further. What was case 1? The case 1 was deposit amount. So I want to deposit to the amount which is currently loaded. I want to deposit to the amount which is currently loaded. And the account which is currently loaded is my account, which is Imran's account. Okay? Because I have passed that customer. Okay? Imran is a customer. Okay? So that will be loaded first. So what is happening is enter the amount to deposit. So I am reading it from the keyboard. So if the amount was initially 5,000, as we have fixed here. So if I enter 1,000 rupees, so that 1,000 will be saved in the amount variable. And then what I am doing is I am calling on the customer object, the method get customer account, that will return me the customer account object. And on that account object, there is a deposit method, and calling the deposit method, I am passing the value of the amount that I want to deposit. So that means this particular deposit method is going to deposit that amount and add that amount to my existing amount and return me with the account balance that I will be printing here by calling get account balance method. Customer dot get customer account and then get account balance. and then break. After every case, as you know, we have to put a break statement to break from the case. Otherwise, all these options will one by one be executed. All the cases will be executed in sequence, right? You must have seen this from the C classes itself, from the C language itself. Okay, guys, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
For case two was the option 2, which is withdraw the amount. So what we are doing, we are basically scanning the amount that we need to withdraw, and we are, because withdraw method is something which may throw the exception. You see, if I just hover over the withdraw method, I see the signature of the method, and that's it. It throws, this particular method throws insufficient fund exception, and that means it throws insufficient fund exception in certain condition, and that certain condition is when the withdrawal amount is more than the current amount balance. ठीक है, तो ये throw करेगा insufficient fund exception. So I am reading a floating point amount, and then under the try, I am attempting to withdraw. I'm trying to withdraw. Okay, this is the guarded region for me. Customer.get customer account. I'm getting the customer account, and on that particular account, I am calling the withdraw method to withdraw the amount from that customer account. If insufficient fund exception happens, then here I am printing the stack trace. You can assume that there are code written to send the emails, the SMS to the user to log, and as well as to display if this application is working for ATM, so to display the appropriate message to the user. So all these things could be done here in the catch statement. Then once the account balance withdrawal is done, whether we get exception or whether we are successfully able to withdraw, the account balance in that case, either it will be updated account balance after the withdrawal, or it will be the same account balance if the withdrawal is not happened and the exception has occurred. So we wish to, print the account balance, and that is what we have done in the system.out.println. Customer.get customer account .get account balance. Okay. Then the third option was fetch customer ID and change customer ID. And the fourth option was fetch customer ID and view the customer details. So for the case 3 and case 4, as you can see, get customer by ID. This is the method written in the same class, which will return me the customer by ID if we pass the bank name. So we are getting the bank name in the method. So we are passing the bank name. So if we go to this get customer by ID, see it again have a scanner object, and it is going to ask you to enter the customer ID, and that customer ID will be taken you from the keyboard by scan.next, and that will be a string value. And then get customer by ID method is called again, which takes two parameter. One is HDFC Bank, other is the customer ID. And this method basically what it does is it iterates over the customer list. And it looks upon each and every customer that whether your customer ID is equal to the customer ID that we have passed in the method. If it is true, then I will set the desired customer is equal to customer, which is initially pointing to null. And then I will return the desired customer. So if the customer is available over there, so I will return the object of the customer. If the customer is not available over there, then the initial value, that is the null, is returned back from the method call. Just have a look at this code. Is it okay, guys?
Yes, sir.
मैं आपको कोड दूंगा, एक बार फिर से पढ़िएगा अपने से, तो अगर उसके बाद फिर कोई डिफिकल्टी होती है तो आप बता सकते हैं मुझे फिर से. So my purpose is to not only just get the customer ID, but to change the customer ID also. So if fetch customer ID is not equal to null, I told you there could be two situations. One is the customer ID that we are looking for is not a bank customer. So in that case, I will get a null value. So I will just print a message instead of out, let me have used it error message that this customer ID will be printed in red, that the customer name is fetch customer dot get customer name. So if it is not null, so it's not error, so out only. Okay, error will be here. Okay, correct. So this is just a message I am printing. The customer name is fetch customer. That is the customer which is fetched, and it's not null. So if it's not null, I can call the get customer name. Otherwise, if it would have been a null, it would have been pointing to a null value, then we would have got a null pointer exception. Okay. So there I am asking to enter the new ID for the customer because I also want to change the customer ID. So you are entering the new value and that we are collecting through scan.next and then passing to the set customer ID method so that that value is changed. Else means customer ID is null. In that case, I am printing a error that no such customer exists. Okay. So the fourth option was to fetch the customer and to view the customer detail. So again, we are calling the same customer ID method as called in the previous case. And if that customer is not equal to null, then we are getting the customer name and we are calling the toString method to get other details of the customer. Fifth case is just system.exit. We pass a 0 value to the system. That means it will quit the program and break the loop. Okay. So let me run this application and just show you. Before I run this application, just have a look at what are the customer IDs we have set. The account numbers we have set as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. The customer IDs for the HDFC 101, 102, and 103, so on. Okay. For account that is associated with customer Imran with HDFC 101 is 5,000 initially. We will try with this customer because that customer is passed as the first loaded customer that will be first loaded initially when the program executes. So I'm running this application and just have a look at it and try it at your home also. And then if you have any problem, we can further, try to discuss. So enter the operations, deposit amount. So the initial amount for the account associated with the customer Imran, that is my account is 5,000. So let me want to deposit some amount, say 700. I want to deposit 700. So it says your account balance is 5,000 plus 700. It's 5,700. Again, the same loop is being, continuing, and it's until we press the 5 option, it will not exit. The program will not exit. It will keep on looping, and the menu will be keep on printing. So now I want to deposit again. Say for example, now I want to deposit say 1,200. Okay, so the account balance is 6,900 now. I want to withdraw some amount. Let me say second option I am choosing. Okay. So let me say I want to withdraw 800 rupees. Okay. So this amount is less than 6,900. So withdrawal has happened and my new account balance is 6,100. Okay. I want to withdraw an amount which is larger than this amount. In that case, I will get the exception. So say for example, let me say that I want to withdraw say 7,000 rupees, which is more than 6,100 rupees by 900 rupees. Correct. So as soon as I enter it, I am getting this exception because I have printed the stack trace. Otherwise, I would have not got the this thing. So account balance is I am getting HDFC insufficient fund exception. Account balance is 6,100. Enter operation. Again, the whole thing is repeating. So the program is still not terminated because we have handled the exception. So if I want to withdraw this time, say a lesser amount, say 5,000. Okay. The new account balance is 1,100. That's within the limit of 6,100, which is my account balance. Now, suppose I want to fetch customer ID and view customer detail. So option 4. Okay. So say customer ID associated with me is HDFC 101. Okay. So for this customer ID, it says welcome Shaim Ranalam. Customer name is Shaim Ranalam. Okay. So I'm getting my details. Okay. Then again enter the operations. Say I want to change, fetch the customer ID and change the customer IDs. Okay. So I will select for 3. And here customer ID, I'm entering the same customer ID HDFC 101 into the customer ID. And so it's giving me the same message. Welcome Chaim Ranalam. Customer name is Chaim Ranalam. Enter the new customer ID. Now new customer ID say HDFC 107. I'm giving 107. I want to change the customer ID. Okay. So the name, the customer ID for me initially it was HDFC 101, and that is now changed to HDFC 107. Okay. If we try to fetch this customer ID by the option 4, I should not be in a position to see that. So let's say HDFC 101. I should not be in a position to see this. Okay. It says no such customer. Okay. So I want to see for 4, with 4 for HDFC 107. I should be in a position to see the customer ID, same customer ID, because its customer ID has changed. With 5, I can simply exit the application. The code is terminated. Okay, guys.
Yes, sir.
So are you getting the idea?
Yes, sir.
ये एक बहुत छोटा सा application बना के रखा है मैंने. Otherwise, you can add as number of different kinds of accounts. You can add a lot of code to it, and it could be a real big application that you can develop it into. This is just for the demonstration purpose, for all the good practices and whatever you have learned so far, where you are going to use interface, where you're going to use abstract classes, where you are going to use concrete classes, how you are going to use the conventions, coding conventions, where you will use the super and this constructors, this key as well as, and delegation, the purpose of delegation, of call, avoiding code duplication, then exception handling, everything in one go, right? So when you will use a swing, libraries, you can just modify this application to have a complete, good looking desktop application. Or if you want to have a web application, then probably you will have to use HTML in place to have a interface which will work on internet as well. So the backend will remain the same. The backend of the application that we have developed will remain the same for both the kind of application, whether it's a desktop application, it's a console-based application, or it's a internet-based application. So the key classes that we have developed, they will remain the same. The design will remain the same. So I will share the code today as well as the recording. I will give you a day of break to go through this application, and you may question me on day after tomorrow. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
ये कोड पढ़ना एक बार जरूरी है आपके लिए. आप पूरे कोड को मैं आपको भेजता हूँ, एक बार पूरा कोड एक बार पढ़ो आप, और ये रिकॉर्डिंग देखो, लास्ट 2 लेक्चर्स की रिकॉर्डिंग एटलीस्ट. एक्सेप्शन हैंडलिंग पहले डिस्कस हुआ है, वो भी देख लो एक बार. तो लास्ट एक्सेप्शन हैंडलिंग की लास्ट रिकॉर्डिंग प्लस ये 2 लास्ट रिकॉर्डिंग, ये 2 दे करके इसको समझो पूरे कोड को, एंड देन यू कम बैक टू मी. Okay, what I said is just go through the last recording of exception handling as well as this lecture as well as the previous lecture. So this will be sufficient for you to, or just the lecture that I am uploading today as well as the previous 3 lectures along with the code. Experiment with the code, run it on your application, on your system, and then wherever you get the doubt, you may discuss the same with me day after tomorrow. Okay, in the class. Okay, you will get a very good idea if you honestly, you do the things. If you try it and you try to understand it, and you want to, if you want to see the flow, see, it's very easy. You can use the this debug tool to basically see the flow. For example, this is the account manager class. Let me give you a small demonstration. This is the first line of the code that will start executing in the main method. So let me put a debug point here itself, right at the first point. Okay, and then let me run it in a debug mode and see how it works. Debug as Java application. It will ask you to change the perspective. What happens? Okay, no problem. Okay, it will ask you to change the perspective to the debug perspective. Say switch. And then you see this green line is the indicator that the control has come over here. This line number 7 has not yet executed. Okay. Here, click on this tab, variables. It will show you all the variables. ARGS is empty. This is ARGS. This is empty. And then as soon as I keep on pressing function key and F6, it will keep on creating the object. And let me move. See, first object, my account is created. See, account balance 5,000, account number this, saving account, annual interest is 3, beneficiary Shah Imran Alam, is joint account false. So joint account holder name is also null, status is equal to true, that means it's active. So everything has happened, just one execution of one line. Similarly, as I proceed, I will see the account 2 also created. See, account 2 is also created. Okay? Is account 2 की value क्या है? 7,000 initial balance. Then it's again a saving account, ABC with the name ABC, and so on. Similarly, if I keep on moving further, FN plus F6, see, account 3 is also created. Okay? 3 accounts created, right? Then first customer, second customer, and third customer with the name Imran, Vaibhav, and John. They are created. See, Imran, Vaibhav, and John created. So under Imran, you have the customer account as null because we have not yet set the customer account as this line number 24 is not executed as of now. So we have not set the customer account. The account is created. My account is here. I will set this my account to this customer account in line number 24. ठीक है, तो अभी ये सब null दिखा रहा है, but ID is created, name is created, right? Similarly for Vaibhav also, everything will be null except the customer ID and the name. Same goes for the John. ठीक है? Now, as soon as I press FN plus F6, you see FN plus F6, this line is executed and see the customer account has been set. It has the same value as of my account. 5,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see my account has got the same value. And here also for Imran, the customer account variable also has got the same value. All the variables are private and there are methods around it. That means we are following the data hiding principle also. Then as soon as we proceed further, FN plus F6, Vaibhav is created. Its account, Vaibhav is already created, its account is also set. Similarly for John, the account is set. Then the bank object will be created when I proceed this line number 27, sorry. Then see the bank object is created. What is within this bank object? You see, it has got a bank name. We have not set the bank name as of now, right? We will set the bank number in line number 28, which is yet to execute. IFSC code also, it is not set, but it has got a customer list, which is empty. This customer list is empty. We have not added customers also. So let me set the bank name, FN plus F6. You see, the bank name is HDFC set. Then we set the customer ID. The IFSC code. IFSC code as of now is null. Let me press this line. IFSC code is set, the yellow thing. As you can see, the highlighted thing, as it is being set. Then add customer. You see, customer list was empty. First customer is added with all the details, right? Similarly, second customer and third customer. You see, now if I press on the customer, it's a array list. So it have index position 0, 1, 2, and it has got all these 3 customer details here. See, even for John Abraham, you can see this. Okay. So once done this, I will get into this particular method, FN plus F5 this time. If I want to get inside a method, F5, function key plus F5. Then let's move to F6, scanner object will be created. Then options are being printed on the screen console. You can see simultaneously, everything is happening step by step, line by line. You can see the whole flow of the application. Now, as soon as I press scan.next integer, it will be silent. I have to enter something over here. Say deposit amount. I've entered something. It has come to the next line of execution. Switch option 1. See, it is showing you that it is coming to the case 1 because case 1 is the deposit amount. First message that I will get printed is from line number 59, enter the amount to deposit. See, then I have to read something. So as soon as I say FN plus F6, the green line will go away and it is waiting for something from me from the keyboard. So I am saying, say I want to deposit 4,000 rupees. Okay. So earlier I had 5,000 rupees, and then as soon as I do this, So it is trying to deposit, yet it has not been deposited. If you go to the variable window, let me show the variable window, the customer, and if you go to the customer account, sorry, customer list, bank, customer list, the first customer is my customer, that is me, and it has got, the amount balance yet as it must be amount balance is not being shown over here. Okay. Okay, I can see that in the account object. Just hold on. Customer list, customer ID. Amount I'm entering 4,000 here. Okay, anyway, I will have to figure it out. Leave it. So coming back to see, the amount must have been deposited, and the next line that will be printed is the account balance is 9,000, 5,000 plus 4,000, and then break will be executed. It will come out of that switch and case statement, and because while is true, it is still true. So I will get the same messages being printed again, and so on. So you can get the whole flow of the application just by the debug functionality. Okay, it's asking for some input. Let me say 5 and let me put the application. Okay, FN plus. So done. You can see the terminated has appeared over here. The debug. So the code is complete. The application execution is complete. I will switch back to Java perspective by clicking over here from debug to Java, and I will come to my editor window. So that's it, guys. दीपक थोड़ा करके देखो भाई, बहुत अच्छी यूटिलिटी है और आपको बड़ा मजा आएगा करने में. और if you want to be a real good programmer, every IDE will provide you a debug functionality. Every good IDE, modern IDEs will provide you the debug functionality, and that is very useful, not only in studying the flow of the code, but also for solving the problems when you check, because you can see the value of each and every variable, the flow of the program. So if you are expecting a kind of exception from somewhere, but the control goes somewhere else, another line is executed, then you can just look at it and figure out in the debug while debugging that where the control is going. What is your expectation versus what happens in the real time when the program executes, and that must be because of some of the inputs or some of the values within the program which is being which is not as per your expectations. Clear, guys? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So I'm dropping the call for today. We will meet day after tomorrow, and hopefully you will study the code. I will send it tomorrow, today evening, both the code and the recording. So I hope you do study. And if you are not studying, then you are losing. You're doing your own loss. What can I do for that?